Okay, power scaling is cringe. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Just
Talk to
about
me.
every nerdily inclined individual in the world has debated with their friends about at least once in
I'm
their
trying to
life.
actually
Whether it's
learn power
Superman,
scaling. I don't really care too much, but like when people talk about these characters and who's stronger, I'd be so confused sometimes. It'd be because niggas start saying niggas is multiversal, universal, or some bullshit, and I'm like, nigga, what? How the hell is this nigga what you just said, but he couldn't do this shit at all? And how is he this level, but he can be the nigga at this level who was higher than? I don't know. Please talk to me.
versus Goku, Master Chief versus Doom Guy, or any other of the practically infinite matchups pulled from a cross fiction of all mediums, there seems to be nothing we love
But we
more.
all, I just know Ben 10 is stronger than most people. Alien X, because Alien X. I just know there are some
Good
people who are
cross
stronger than some people, but people always come back to Goku. Batman's nasty as hell, but shit, he did beat Superman, even though it was kryptonite with him, but still, he beat him regardless. But it's like, I don't know.
stuff. Dating
And,
back as
and,
far
and then it's all the shit that people be doing. Like Batman outsmart Brainiac, so he has one of the smartest minds. But when you look at his IQ, it's lower than Tony Stark's. So it's lower than Peter Parker's. But Peter Parker is literally a genius. But it's like that shit right
you can
there. It's
remember, these
confusing as
debates
shit.
raged on. Everywhere from the uncool table in middle school cafeterias to late nights at a friend's sleepover when actually sleeping was off the menu, there was always a new matchup to discuss. And nowadays, with the advent of internet message boards, YouTube series like Death Battle,
Yeah.
crossover fighting games like Smash Bros, Jump Force, and Mortal Kombat guest rosters, hell, even big Hollywood movies getting in on the action, the landscape of conversation for these hypothetical contests of strength is bigger and more intense than ever. And that's all well and good. Like I said, I've had my fair share of arguments over this stuff too. There's nothing wrong with occasionally shooting the shit with a buddy on a long car ride about how Gandalf would totally wipe the floor with Dumbledore or whatever you feel like talking about.
Fuck, I'm
But
thinking Dumbledore
some of
beats
you
Gandalf.
guys, you take it too far.
On God, they take it a
I'm
little too
referring
far.
specifically to the practice of power scaling. If you're
I think Dumbledore beat Gandalf. I'm not gonna lie. I think Dumbledore is just too much. I think he's just too strong.
unfamiliar with the term, it basically entails taking a fictional character, figuring out all of the most impressive things they've ever done, these are called feats, and attempting to use real-world measurements, math, and science to figure out exactly how fast and strong said character is, as well as the effects of whatever special abilities they
Like
might
niggas
have.
be bringing
More
TNT
weight-
into this shit. Like they said, a nigga's blast was like worth 200,000,000 pounds of TNT, and 1 pound can take out an island. So that says a lot for how strong that nigga blast was. Like what? So you saying that nigga blast can destroy a universe?
to be given to stuff that we actually see the character do, but sometimes things that are only alluded to are used as feats as well. Upon figuring all this stuff out, the character is usually given a
But you get all your information the most from comic books and manga.
Rating
And light
based on the
novels.
results. A few different metrics are used, but the most common rating system is based on attack potency and durability. Essentially, what's the biggest thing they could destroy with a single attack, and what's the most powerful attack they could possibly endure without dying.
And what's the
this
fastest
scale
they
ranges
can
from
go?
the infinitesimally small all the way.
And what's the fastest they can go? So, and then tier 11, infinitesimal. What? No jewel value available. This tier pertains to characters or objects that can create, destroy, or affect the whole structure of a lower dimensional universe or lower layers/levels of reality. Please note that existing as a drawing or being made of data information is not ranked at this tier, such as beings that are still three-dimensional but on a incredibly small scale.
Boundless infinite strength.
And then this is boundless. So how is this one lower than this? Is this one higher than this or lower than this? Like that's what I'm getting confused about. This is tier infinitesimal, and then this was tier 0 boundless. Like it's saying characters or objects can affect structures which completely exceed the logical foundations of high A1, whichever the hell that means, much like exceeding the ones defining A1 and below. Being all possible levels of high A1 are exceeded, even an infinite or uncountably amount of such levels. No tier has no endpoint. This tier has no endpoint and can be extended to any higher level just like the ones below. Being omnipotent or any similar reasoning is not nearly enough to reach this tier on its own. However, such statements can be used as supporting evidence in conjunction with more substantial information. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? I do not know.
It was used for speed feats that ranges from
And good thing I read it
to
because I'm
massively
probably in the
faster
way.
than light. Once you've got your
Because I'm practically in front of the way, but whatever. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Speed of light. Like, niggas saying
for
niggas is like
speed
speed of
feats
light.
that ranges from immobile to massively faster than
Niggas are immobile? Who the fuck can't move? Fuck. Who the hell can't move?
Once you've got your rating for both characters in the matchup, you simply compare the stats. With characters that are clearly in different leagues and have no business fighting each other, the match is considered a stomp. But otherwise, the debate typically starts with these things and progresses to comparisons of things like intelligence, skills, experience, equipment, character flaws, and theorizing about how certain unique powers might interact with one another. Eventually, hopefully...
Like, niggas, okay, the whole thing with Asta's anti-magic and fucking Luffy's water immobility. Like, they say because, okay, like, Asta is, he can destroy any magic, anti-magic. So when somebody with magic is inherently stronger than his, he can wipe it away. But that makes no sense to me. Because if that's the case, then because that's basically saying that that they're only able to fight in Asta's world per se. Like, it's not in his world, but only using his powers, because they said something with somebody else who had like magical powers or something that wasn't magical, and they said that it would get wiped away. Hold on. Oh no, I'm thinking of Natsu. Like, they're saying any fire magic gets eaten up instantly. It doesn't matter what it is, because, you know, Asta is multiversal or whatever. And they say anything gets eaten up. So if he was to fight Naruto, he would just eat up his fire. So in that case, since the fire is all he has, and fire is magic, it's magic. It is. Nobody's gonna tell me different. Like, fire is fucking, it's magic. Especially the way it's elemental, but it's a magic. I can't even explain. Niggas gonna get on my ass. This is gonna take me 80 minutes. But Asta should be able to, you know, destruct his fire then. If niggas always gonna bring up the fact that he has anti-magic. Or is his fire too strong because it was able to break through time? Like, shit like that just confuses me, and it just makes no sense.
Running the debate will decide a winner. If this all seems reasonable enough, if perhaps a bit dorky so far to you, then I would agree. But upon closer scrutiny, 3 fatal flaws in this methodology are made clear. With the first being, authors don't care about power scaling.
They don't. They
one writes...
just write they shit. They don't care. And niggas always want to do it, which is fine. It's fine. But niggas, like, other authors don't even care, bruh. And then I was gonna get into a whole different subject. That's not
stuff in mind. When a writer is constructing a scene, their priority and main focus is going to be on developing the characters, furthering the storyline, delivering on a cool action sequence, or, in all likelihood, doing several of those at once. The concern is almost never going to be, how can I write this in such a way as to facilitate consistency and comparison of my character with those of another author? Like, what? It's hard enough to just make everything work within the logic of your own world and rules. And a lot of writers, even very skilled ones, will display some degree of inconsistency even when comparing characters within the same series, or the same character between different scenes, let alone having to scale it properly with everyone else's completely separate imaginary worlds and characters that operate on totally different rule sets. 99% of the time, a writer just wants to create an awesome, effective, emotionally compelling scene that will be satisfying to their own audience and within the context of their own story. And a lot of the time, a character doing something that makes for a cool visual is much more important for affecting the audience than a 100% adherence to consistency will be. A perfect example of this is a scene from Part 6 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean. The main character, Jolene, is trapped in a maximum security prison, and a huge fight breaks out between her the guards, and several other prisoners. And being that this is an anime, everyone involved has wacky superpowers.
Exactly.
Jolene can manifest a powerful spectral figure called a stand to fight alongside her. She also has some cool other abilities that are tied to that, but they aren't super relevant to this discussion. Her opponent, a prison guard named Westwood, has the power
I'll let him finish.
to call down small meteors from space to his location for use as projectiles. During the course of this fight, Jolene is about to be hit by one of these meteors and punches it away with her stand at the last second, destroying the meteors, but breaking her hand in the process, since she also takes any damage done to her stand.
Yeah, we
Pretty
know.
badass, right? Makes for a thrilling moment and a high-stakes fight.
Facts,
Now, given this
facts,
scene,
tough.
and without doing any further research, where on the aforementioned power scale would you place Jolene? Well,
Like, that's what I'm like, I look at, like, you know, like I want to be in the realm a little bit, like, to understand what motherfuckers is talking about. Like, I look at a little certain shit, like how fast a motherfucker just went, like, from this place to place, you know, like what type of feat that they just accomplished. Like, I can't ever acknowledge it, because Saint Seiya, people are saying Saint Seiya is stronger than Goku, because at some points throughout the show, he does God level shit. Like, he went through a place only gods can go. So, I don't know.
what the professional power scalers over at Death Battle had to say about this.
Just as strong as Stone Free, which can punch meteors that were pulled to Earth in seconds.
By measuring the distance the meteors are from Earth, we can estimate they were moving at over 11 million meters per second. Factoring in their mass, they each have a kinetic energy of 441 kilotons of TNT.
Like, and then they say that, like, how is that? What? I don't get it. I know that's a lot of TNT, and if that was to hit the floor, it's creating a big crater. We all know that. But how is that? Like, how do you know that that's? Like, how do you know?
Okay, how close was your guess? I was pretty fucking far off the mark. I mean, the conclusion they draw here is completely ridiculous. Even assuming that all of their math and measurements are correct, which I'm sure they are, if you genuinely think that Hirohiko Araki's intention with this scene was to say that Jolene's stand is capable of punching with the force of a small nuclear bomb, then you are insane. This is a Prison Break story, and we're clearly shown earlier on in the series that her stand, while being quite strong, about strong enough to bend a quarter in half with its fingers, is not quite powerful enough to break through the bars on Jolene's prison cell. Not to mention all the time throughout the series where she needs to unleash a barrage of attacks to finish a fight with opponents that have ordinary human durability. If she was actually intended to be as strong as this feat shows, then the entire rest of the series makes a lot less sense. Now, clearly, Araki wrote that scene because he thought it would be badass to have his protagonist punch a flaming meteor. And he was absolutely right. It was a very cool scene. But because it happened, it's now a feat, and power scalers will take this, apply a bunch of math and physics to something that never took those things into account in the first place, and use that to say a character is so-and-so level while ignoring all the other evidence to the contrary. And why would people do something like that? Because of the second major flaw.
Oh.
People want their favorite guy to win.
Oh.
Human beings are inherently biased creatures. It's just a fact of life. And fictional stories have an innate ability to connect to us on a deep and personal level. Our favorite characters are almost a part of us, and as such, we become very attached to them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when someone else comes along and says that a different character is stronger than our favorite guy, we don't like hearing that. It brings out the same primal childhood playground defensive need to insist that no, my dad could beat up your dad, even if the other kid's dad is a black belt ex-Navy SEAL bodybuilder. It doesn't matter, because I love my dad and I really want him to win. So when it comes to power scaling, the most popular characters tend to have the largest, staunchest defense squad ready to come out of the woodwork to provide any and every feat possible to ensure that they always come out on top no matter what. And for a perfect example of this phenomenon, we need look no further than the bat in the room.
Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, he was just rambling. He was just fucking rambling. I honestly zoned the fuck out. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
People love Batman.
I love him.
He's one of the most popular fictional characters of all time. Even among people who aren't into superheroes at all, Batman is a household name, and with good reason. With a rock-solid basic concept, decades of excellent comic book storylines, critically acclaimed feature films, a few banger video games, and several great animated TV shows under his utility
Exactly.
belt, Batman is
unstoppable.
awesome. And I love Batman too. He's my second favorite superhero after Spider-Man. So, fellow Bat fans, please...
This nigga knows what the fuck is up. This nigga knows what up. This nigga knows what up. Spider-Man is the greatest superhero to ever exist. This nigga knows what's up. Let's continue.
Take it the way when I say that you're all annoying as hell. It comes from a place of love, I promise. But when you take the idea of authors writing scenes without any consideration for power scaling, and compound that over nearly 100 years of continuous Batman content with dozens, probably hundreds of writers projecting their own preferences and limitations onto the character.
I feel
each
like they
with their
do
own
sometimes
tolerance
because Brainiac is a fucking entity. The smartest being in the... It's hard to say because I haven't really read the comic. But, like, he's at that level. And Batman was able to outsmart him. So people are saying in the comics, which is probably true. So you can't tell me that the authors aren't having that in their brain just a little bit. Because to be able to outsmart him, how? Like, that's a feat for real. Like, there's so many other feats like that. It's like, I feel like they do a little bit, just a little bit, but it's not their main focus. Like, they're like, okay, we're going to make this nigga do this over him to show a difference in strength. I honestly don't know, bro.
The rule of cool over consistency, and then you
I
unleash
try to add
all
my
of that
input
material.
whenever I can because I'm not going to just sit and do nothing.
Untold hordes of adoring fans who are more than happy to scour every bit of that material for something, anything to support their position in a given argument, and it's almost inevitable that people would come up with reasons that Batman could defeat, well, just about any character given enough prep time, regardless of whether it actually makes any sense for Batman to win that fight. I mean, he's a very smart, very capable fighter, but he's still an unpowered human at the end of the day, and he routinely struggles against the mostly street-level characters in his rogues gallery.
But these niggas are fucking dangerous, though.
Really compelling arguments all over the internet for why he would defeat characters who, in all honesty, would vaporize him in the blink of an eye.
Like,
purely because he's been around for so long, and writers have done so much with him as a character that you can find evidence for him pulling off pretty much anything you can imagine. And while Batman may be the most prominent example of this phenomenon, you can be sure that any character with a sufficiently large pool of source material and a devoted enough fan base will have similar arguments made on their behalf when it comes to versus matchups. Arguments that selectively focus on outlier feats written without scaling in mind and used to vastly highball characters in spite of those arguments potentially going against the established limitations of said character. And this happens because we don't like seeing our favorites...
Batman is solar system with prep? What the fuck?
Against the established...
He's solar system with prep time?
...limitations of said character. And this happens because we don't like seeing our favorites lose. Which brings me to the third and final nail in the coffin. Strength doesn't really matter. I mean, genuinely. Whether one character can beat another in a fight has absolutely nothing to do with how good of a character they are. I know there's a knee-jerk reaction to defend our favorites, but why? Sure, Superman could utterly demolish Spider-Man in a billion different ways, but that doesn't change the fact that I like Spider-Man more. And Goku isn't any deeper or more interesting than Guts from Berserk just because he'd win in a 1v1. Saitama isn't any better or more emotionally compelling than Aragorn, even if he does have an absurdly higher power level. We don't love a character because we've used pixel measurements and vague statements from some obscure source to determine that they're a massively faster-than-light, multiverse-destroying omnipotent god that can solo all of fiction. We love them because we've resonated with them on an emotional level, because of good writing and compelling development, because we can identify with their struggles and have empathy for them like we would for a real person. Or maybe we just think they're funny, or we dig their vibes. Their strengths certainly could factor into it as well, don't get me wrong. I know I love a good kick-ass finishing move as much as the next guy, but no matter what, it's all based on our emotional connection to them. Fiction is a realm of emotion. Facts may not care about your feelings in the real world, but in the domain of storytelling, the facts are entirely defined by them. Not to mention that any matchup between characters is just going to go in favor of whoever the author wants to win.
No way, that was just One Piece. You're lying to me.
It'll just be a tie because whatever company owns the rights doesn't want one of their IP to seem less valuable than another.
Demanded equal number of punches during fight with. But we all know he rocks this boy. We all know that.
Either way, no amount of power scaling on Reddit is going to turn the tide of battle in your favor. So what's my point? What am I getting at here?
What are you getting at?
Well, I think you should subscribe and drop a like. To be honest, kind of nothing. If you enjoy power scaling and all that entails,
go
if
ahead.
The process of debate brings you joy, then go for it.
Go ahead.
Who the hell am I to stop you? But I do think that we would all benefit from recognizing that the practice is pretty flawed, prone to absurd confirmation bias, and is really not worth taking super seriously or getting angry about. I also think it might do us some good to focus on the other things that make our favorite characters so cool. And when we do run into dick measuring territory, we consider whether a feat is actually representative of them, or if it's just happening for the sake of a cool scene, before we start whipping out the calculators and measuring tape. In short, have fun, but just know that I think you're a goofy goober.
You goofy
Then again, what do I know? I watch Slice of...
But I am going to say this before he finishes. Some people are inherently stronger than some people. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. And there are some people who are on the same level as some people. But to say that two people from two different universes of anime, manga, whatever, that this person's stronger than this person when it doesn't even correlate or collide up within their worlds, it just makes no sense. Like Saint Seiya, he fights gods. But people would say Goku is stronger than him because why? Because he fought one god? Or Whis? And because he was able to make the universe shake from screaming or powering up? When Saint Seiya was able to go into a place where only gods can enter, he went faster than the speed of light to reach that place as well because it's only gods can go in there. The gravity is strong as shit. So it's like, and then with Asta and Asta and Deku. Shit, it's complicated. It is very complicated.
Anime. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time to explain why Komi-san solos all of One Piece with her devastating Conqueror's Haki.
So one question I'm always asked. Who would win in a fight? Who would win in a fight if Galactus fought the Hulk? Or if Thor fought Iron Man? And there's one answer to all of that. It's so simple. Anyone should know this. The person who'd win in a fight is the person that the scriptwriter wants to win. If I'm writing a story about the Thing from the Fantastic Four, and he gets into a big fight with Spider-Man, and millions of people out there say, who would win?
Spider-Man.
Well, it depends on who I want to win if I'm writing the script. If I want Spider-Man to win, he'll win. If I want the Thing to win, he'll win. These are fictitious characters. The writer can do whatever he wants with them. So stop asking those bonehead questions. Because I've had it with that.
Me too. R.I.P. Stan the Man, bro.
Who would win in a fight?
The Marvel world ain't the same without you, man.
That just about every nerdly
Marvel world is not the same without you.
Individual in the world has debated with their friends about at least once in their life. Whether it's Superman versus Goku, Master Chief versus Doom Guy, or any other of the practically infinite matchups pulled from a cross-fiction of all mediums, there seems to be nothing we love more than a good cross-universe dust-up. Dating back as far as I can remember, these debates raged on.
I love y'all. Bye.